If you think Canada is just maple syrup and mousse, you're missing the real reason why this country might secretly be winning 2025. Number 1, a country built to survive anything. Canada isn't just big, it's engineered for survival. We're talking about a nation that owns 20% of the world's freshwater, a country that stretches from the Pacific to the Atlantic and all the way into the Arctic, where new shipping routes are melting open. It's like someone designed a bunker, but made it the size of a continent. In a world worried about resource wars, droughts, and food shortages, Canada quietly sits on a jackpot of water, land, and minerals. And they're not just sitting on it. Canada's Arctic claim gives it control over trade routes that used to be impossible to reach. While other countries compete over the South China Sea, Canada just watched the ice melt and started building. But what Canada did with this next advantage, no other country dared to try it. Number 2, free healthcare. But it gets deeper. Let's be real, you've heard Canada has free healthcare. But what you might not realize is how deep that system goes. An American tourist once needed emergency surgery after collapsing during a hike in British Columbia. She braced herself for the nightmare. Paperwork, insurance calls, 5-figure bills. Instead, she got patched up and sent home. No bill, no drama, no debt. Canada's healthcare isn't perfect. Wait times can be brutal. But here's the twist. Canadians overwhelmingly trust it. Because it isn't a privilege, it's a right. And that belief, it shapes everything, from how Canadians vote to how they take care of each other. And that's not even Canada's biggest flex when it comes to taking care of its people. Number 3, the Canadian passport power. Here's a stat no one talks about. A Canadian passport gives you access to 185 countries without needing a visa. But that's just the surface. Being Canadian means you're seen as safe, neutral, non-threatening. It opens doors in places Americans and Brits often struggle. One travel vlogger from Toronto visited 52 countries in a single year without a single visa rejection. Locals assumed he was a tourist, not a threat, not a spy, just Canadian. That's soft power. It's invisible, but insanely powerful. But there's one hidden privilege that comes only with being Canadian. Number 4, they don't just survive cold, they dominate it. Minus 40 degrees Celsius isn't a crisis in Canada. It's just, well, Tuesday. When entire countries panic over a snowstorm, Canadian cities just keep going. In Montreal, there's an underground city where people shop, eat, and commute without ever touching snow. In Calgary, they have heated sidewalks. In Toronto, life barely slows down at minus 20 degrees. But honestly, it's more than just tech. It's the mindset. Canadians don't fight winter. They adapt to it. Ice roads, snow festivals, ski towns that turn freezing weather into billion-dollar tourism. And somehow, they mix this weatherproof grit with one of the most diverse populations on Earth. Now imagine mixing this resilience with one of the most diverse cultures on Earth. Number 5, multiculturalism that actually works. In 1971, Canada became the first country to make multiculturalism official policy. And it really shows. Walk through downtown Toronto, you'll hear 5 languages in 5 minutes. A quarter of the country is foreign-born. And yet, it works. Why? Because instead of forcing people to assimilate, Canada built systems that celebrate differences. Festivals, foods, neighborhoods, they aren't silos, they're stories being shared. There's a famous case. A Syrian refugee family landed in Ontario. 3 years later, the father ran his own restaurant, his son was in college, and the community knew their names. But Canada isn't just peaceful, it's weirdly powerful, and nobody talks about it. Number 6, quiet military, loud impact. You don't see Canada flexing its military on TikTok, but behind the scenes, it's everywhere. From United Nations peacekeeping missions to NATO war rooms, Canada is the country that shows up, plays nice, and gets stuff done. When things go sideways, allies call Ottawa, not because they're the biggest, but because Canada brings credibility and calm. And here's a twist. When Canada does show force, it's precise, respected, rare. Like when they deployed elite snipers to protect aid convoys. Silent, effective, no drama. And if you think that's impressive, wait till you hear how Canada's education system changes lives forever. Number 7, education that's actually affordable. So, do you think you need to go into lifelong debt to get a good education? Not in Canada. While American students routinely take on more than $100,000 in loans, Canadians often graduate with a quarter of that. Or, honestly, nothing at all. In provinces like Quebec, Tuition is subsidized so heavily that students pay less than $4,000 per year. And the kicker? Canadian universities aren't just affordable, they're world-class. The University of Toronto, McGill, UBC, all top-ranked globally. One American student crossed the border to study computer science in Ontario. While her classmates back home were drowning in interest rates, she got her degree, debt-free, and landed a job with Google. But there's one Canadian law that makes people around the world jealous. Number 8. Legal freedom that shocked the world. In 2018, Canada did something bold and legalized cannabis nationwide. But that wasn't the only shocker. Marriage equality? Legal since 2005, a full decade before the United States. Free speech? Protected. Religious freedom? Enshrined. Abortion rights? Solid. The right to die with dignity? Also legal under strict conditions. In a world where some nations are rolling back freedoms, Canada went the other way, expanding rights, not shrinking them. And here's where it gets wild. This legal stability is attracting the ultra-wealthy, not just for money, but for peace of mind. And here's where things get wild. Because this next thing, even billionaires are quietly moving for it. Number 9. Safe, rich, and quietly full of millionaires. Toronto isn't just Canada's biggest city, it's a wealth magnet. Same with Vancouver. These cities quietly attract high net worth individuals from around the world, not for yachts or bragging rights, but for stability. Canada ranks among the safest countries globally. It has a strong banking system, low crime, and a reliable legal framework. For people fleeing chaos or corruption, it's a fortress. And that's why billionaires, from Hong Kong to the Middle East, are snapping up homes in Canadian suburbs, sometimes paying in full, sight unseen. But Canada's most impressive strength? You can't even see it on a map. Number 10. Nature that feels like another planet. Think Canada is just forests and lakes? Think again. Try this on for size Banff National Park. Crystal blue water, jagged peaks, and forests that stretch into infinity. The Northern Lights? A regular show in Yukon and Nunavut. Cape Breton's coastal cliffs? Unreal. Canada has the second largest landmass on Earth, and most of it looks untouched by humans. It's a place where you can hike alone for hours and feel like you're on another planet. And unlike other tourist hotspots, it's safe, clean, peaceful. Solo travelers rank it as one of the most calming destinations on Earth. And what if I told you, Canada might soon control the future of energy itself? Number 11, the green energy superpower no one's watching. While the world panics over fossil fuels, Canada has been quietly preparing a green energy takeover. 60% of Canada's electricity comes from hydropower, not oil, not coal. And that number is rising. Wind and solar are exploding, and honestly, the country's even experimenting with small modular nuclear reactors. But there's a twist. Canada still has one of the world's largest oil reserves, in Alberta. And while that gets heat, it also gives them bargaining power during the green transition. The result? Canada has the rare ability to both fuel today and power tomorrow. And finally, this last reason may sound simple, but it unlocks everything else. Number 12, Canadians themselves. You can have all the wealth, beauty, and power in the world, but without the people, it's nothing. And Canada's biggest strength is Canadians. They're not loud, not flashy, but they're kind, humble, and quietly excellent. They volunteer more, donate more, and trust each other more than almost any other country. In global polls, Canadians are ranked as the most trusted people on Earth. They're also among the most educated, with over half the population holding a post-secondary degree. In a world of division and distrust, that matters. In a world of noise, chaos, and collapse, Canada stays calm, strong, and quietly ready for the future. So, which of these 12 surprised you the most? Comment below. And hey, if you want more geography that actually blows your mind, don't forget to subscribe. Next video: why some countries might disappear by 2050. Stay tuned.